If you could rewatch 1 year's worth of wrestling from one company, what's the year and what's the company?
That's a tough one. There's a lot of great years for a lot of various different companies. My first initial thoughts like go back to it really got you hooked, right? Like that's an easy one. I personally enjoyed WCW 1989. I love WWF in 1989 as well. But I would say just for an entertaining year, a year that did great business for this company, it'd probably be 1984 Mid-South Wrestling. Because you have the Midnight Express, White Hot. You had the Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling 2 feud, which I liked. Junkyard Dog, Watts coming out of retirement, the Last Stampede, all that stuff. So I would say that show is one of the best hours of wrestling at the time. So I think of one full year from January to December. I think Mid-South Wrestling 1984 would be my pick.
I'll read the 2 responses we got in the Discord when I posed this question earlier this evening. From Paul Fontaine, he said 2001 WWF, which I was actually kind of surprised about because that is the year that they kind of started going down. And I said, why? And he said he thinks it was the most stacked roster of any company ever. And so much happened that it was hard for him to keep up with it in real time. And then King of Westlake in our Discord, who's also from the Bay Area. You know King of Westlake? Works at I think he works at a school. Okay. I actually don't know his. I haven't paired his real name with the gimmick on Discord, but I know he's a fan of Bay Area sports and he listens to us. So shout out to King of Westlake. King of Westlake said WWF in 1984, and it was for the same reason that you initially said, which is that's what got him hooked as a fan. He said he was in the 4th grade, and he even remembers watching at 10 a.m. on Channel 2 and midnight on Channel 20, both on Saturday. And that's his pick. So I have a few. I couldn't really pick one because I think it would depend on what we were doing. So you mentioned WCW and WWF 1989. My buddy Draven and I, we just covered that full year on Observe This on the Fight Game Media Network last year. And right now we're doing 84, so I'm able to watch some of the stuff in 84. You and I, we did WCW 96, and we did WWF 97 and WWF 98. So we rewatched all of that TV, which was really fun. And I think those are on the old, you got to dig far back into the archives of the Fight Game Media Network to find those shows. I chose 1986 and 1987 WWF. So I think I don't know what one I would put over the other. I just remember the Orndorff and Hogan feud having like a real big effect on me as a little kid, and that's in 86. But then 87, you get Hogan Andre in the build to WrestleMania 3 in 87, and then they add the Survivor Series in 87 as well, and SummerSlam gets added in 88. But so there's some stuff going on. I was watching this movie. It's called Someone to Watch Over Me. Have you heard of this movie? Tom Berenger, Mimi Rogers.
That's an old one, huh?
It's like a cop thriller. Yeah, I think it's from like 87.
Cool.
And there's a scene in the movie where there's a bunk bed, and on the bunk bed, the comforter is a Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling comforter. I was like, yep, 1987, baby. This is when WWE goes insane. So then I also thought from the WCW aspect, I would go back to 88 and rewatch 88 in WCW. And I would rewatch 90 because I love the beginning of 90 so much. And then it just falls off a little bit because the transition from Flair to Sting. But the getting to Flair versus Sting is so memorable to me. And then, then it gets a little wonky. But, I always gave the Sting stuff a chance because I just wanted him to do so well. I was just wanted him to be that guy. And even the goofy Sid Vicious Halloween Havoc with Barry Windham dressed as the fake Sting. And then you get all to that stuff in Starrcade that's all super goofy with the Black Scorpion. So yeah, there's goofy stuff, but at least like the first like 5 months of 90, I think I would really get a kick out of.
Yeah, I think the same way like WCW 1994, like before Hogan shows up, I enjoy that stuff they were doing because they're a little more edgier, I think, at the time. And then also, if I could pick, you give me one full year, if I could pick like January 1988 WWF all the way to WrestleMania 5, 1989, I think that would be. I know Hogan and Macho Man continue to feud throughout 1989, but I mean, it really ends. You know, the Hogan, it's like a nice conclusion is when Hogan wins the belt at WrestleMania 5. So that's a good one too. So yeah, a lot of good stuff, a lot of good moments out there, a lot of good wrestling out there. So hope people go back and watch it.